Alrighty, there, that's better. I should have my chat in here when people do chat now. I want to see if I can share this to Facebook real fast. Share, YouTube feed, post. Hold on 1 second. It's going to take me a second to share this stuff out. And then we're going to go share, feed, post. And there we go. Anyways, all right, so I'm back. Now, where did my little counter thing go? I don't know where that is. Let's see. Use live screen indicator. I don't know what that is. Let's see. Sorry, I'm like kind of new to all this stuff, so I'm trying to see where that went. I don't know. Anyways, so I get kind of like bored and whatnot, lonely around here. So it's I'm a type 1 diabetic. I'm homeless, living in my car. So there is not a whole lot to do. So I'm trying to work on raising money to try to get a van or a small RV. So, I'm not living in this car. It's tiny. It's a little, I have a 2009 Volvo S60 and it's, the rack and pinion's gone out on it and it's leaking power steering fluid everywhere. So it's on its last leg. It's going out. It's got 242,000 miles on the thing already. And winter's coming quick, Tonight's not so bad, but yesterday was really cold. We've already gotten to, the feel-like temperatures, 30, so it's getting cold and it's getting cold fast. So I'm really trying to work on getting a van or an RV or whatnot, and hopefully, something will happen where I can do that, and that's why I'm trying to make these in between working. I do my own stuff right now. It's very, very, very slow. I just finished up my last dock job. If you look up Wicked Good Services on Facebook, it's in Maine. You can see some of the work I have done recently. It's enough to keep me, eating and stuff like that, but not enough to work on, not yet at least, to get, to be reliable and work on getting, somewhere where I can stay warm for the winter. Everybody knows that rent has gone ridiculously sky high. I don't know where you're from, but if you're in Maine, it's $1,500 for a 1-bedroom apartment, and that's just stupidly high. And you got to figure if you have to pay $1,500 a month, so that's going to cost you $4,500 a month just to move in. Also meaning you need to make about $4,500 a month. Any regular job around here is not paying that, so you have to work for yourself if you want to survive. If not, you're just literally going to be stuck in the same situation, and it is what it is, but that's what, what life's all about, I guess. So, life is, everybody knows life. Life's expensive. Everybody, I'm sure, is having struggles, but my links are above if anybody can help. It's just really, it's really stressful and it's really hard. And, I don't even know, it's like, it's kind of scary not knowing what you're going to do day to day, and whether you're going to, find work the next day, or if your car's going to break down, or, like if my car breaks down, I'm screwed. I have all my stuff in here, my paint equipment and all my clothes. I can't carry that down the road. I don't have enough money to, bring it to a shop and get it fixed. So it's like I'm kind of stuck in where I am. Life has been, a challenge for, I'm sure, a lot of people and myself in general. I can't, I don't, just, how do I say that? I don't necessarily, to think anybody's worse off than anybody else. I don't compare myself to anybody else. But I'm going to a little story about myself, So, I was born December 2nd, 1982, 42 years old now. And when my mom was, with my dad and all that, and, she sorry, there's a bunch of notifications going on my phone, and I'm trying to read them. I have a hard time, doing more than one thing at once, I guess. So my mom left when I was 2. And my dad was a very, very abusive man. and that's why she left. But I don't understand why you would leave your kids in that situation. It's, you know, definitely damaged me a lot. My dad was a very, very, very bad man. And then I got tossed in between some, you know, foster care for a little while, and then I had to go live with my uncle and aunt for a little while. My uncle did some shitty shit, and then I went back with my father. I've been on my own since I was 15. And then from there, I just wanted to be, you know, ever since I was young, I just wanted to be loved and cared about. And I've always been a very loyal, faithful, good man, as best as I can. I'm not a perfect man by any means. But I just seem to find, you know, real bad relationship after bad relationship. And, you know, prior to, you know, me being homeless now, I've been homeless for about a year, and maybe a little longer than that. I was in a relationship with a woman, and I used to blame her for losing everything, but I made my own choices. I blame myself. I could have very much got out of it. She was an addict. And she even told me, you know, being with an addict, you know, falling in love with an addict is the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life. And she was very right. Very, very smart woman, just, you know, went through her own issues, which I'm not going to get into. It's not my business to share her information, but like I said, I ran my own company for 8 years. I was doing great. I was making $1,000 a day, you know, just busting my butt. And I'm going to get there again, but I really need help trying to get this van or an RV or something where I can at least lay down, because I'm telling you what, sleeping inside this car, sitting up, is horrible. But I mean, it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do, but it's a pain in the butt. And you know, I'm just hoping somehow that things can get better. And, you know, everybody needs help sometime in their life, and I'm really, really in need right now. If you look above, you have my links for my Cash App and my PayPal. Also, I have my PayPal QR code right there. Anything helps. I know I'm kind of just rambling on, but I sit in this car every day, and, you know, by myself, and it does a lot to you, you know, your mental stability or whatnot. And I go crazy. It's just literally just sitting here doing absolutely nothing. And I'm hoping that I can get out of the situation, and, you know, I'd like to work on my company, and I'd like to give back to the community and do a whole lot of good things, and you know, maybe, you know, work on documenting some of this. We have a huge homeless crisis. That's not, I hate that word. It's not a homeless crisis. We have a mental health crisis. We have a drug addiction and alcohol crisis. And then we have rent is too daggone expensive crisis. And they try to fight homelessness, but they don't try to fight the causes for these things. And I think there's a lot that can be done. There's a program here, the Tedford Shelter, and, you know, even them, they only want to help, you know, for profit. And it's pretty sad. So there's some, you know, like, that's what most of the, and I can't say all, because some homeless shelters are great and they care about people, but even the way people, you know, some of the people work there, they look down on you. And, you know, like I said, I used to stay there for a little bit, but they have so much mold in there. I was getting respiratory infections like crazy, and I went there just to visit a friend, and I'm, like I said, I'm homeless, and one of the staff members brought me out a cup of coffee. It was very nice, and the new person who runs it yelled at her and told her, you know, you're not allowed to give him nothing yet again. And this is all by donations by people to help out the homeless. And, like, I mean, like, literally, if they're not making a buck off you, they do not care about you, and it's pretty sad. But it is what it is, you know. I mean, right now, I've, you know, like I said, I'm trying to work on my company and grow it. I've been a painter for ever, pretty much. Besides, I ran my junk removal company for 8 years. Besides that, I'm 42 years old, and I started painting when I was 17. I did every day of my life besides those 8 years, and I even did some then. I did a few houses here and there in between all my slow times just to get something done. But I ordered some business cards, I ordered some flyers, I ordered a couple of yard signs and whatnot, so hopefully that'll kick in. But it's also becoming winter, and people don't really like up north to get a lot done in the winter. Season's pretty much running out on that, so I'm kind of nervous about that. I do have some work when snow work cuts here, but then I'm also going to freeze my butt off and have to come back soaking wet to this car. in the middle of the winter, so that's kind of nervous. That's why I want to, like, at least if I can get a van, I can, hang my stuff up to dry, and or an RV, which would be perfect. A small one, I don't need nothing huge. Just something I can, call home and have a heater in it, and have electricity with a generator, and because there's no way I'm going to come up with the money to, live comfortably, or even struggling with it before winter hits. It's just not going to happen. But I'm hopeful, and I believe the Lord has a plan for everybody. I hope there's a plan for everybody, and I hope that something can come my way and I'll figure it out. But I don't know. But that was my, I'm not going to ramble on all night, but that was, pretty much I just wanted to say, if you can help, you can help. If you can't, you can't, but I just appreciate it if you can, and my links are there, and if you can like and share and subscribe, and I'm going to be doing daily update videos, and, I'd like to eventually get into just a community work and helping out other people. So if you don't mind just giving this a quick share and a thumbs up and a subscribe, and if you can, where my links are. Thank you. Have a good day.